Welcome into SOS. We got a great show today. We're talking about the Raiders. After that blowout, entering the bye, can they turn the season around? Plus, we talk Shohei Ohtani. Is it the greatest performance we've ever seen in sports history? And later on, NBA Slam Dunk champion Fred Jones joins me here in the studio. Let's do this thing. SOS starts right now.
Make some noise. This is Sound Off Sports, sponsored by Silver State Schools Credit Union.
I am trying really hard to keep supporting the Raiders, but I think they need to turn things around by using a new quarterback. We should have got a season one to begin with, is my thought, and if they would have kept Derek Carr and Devontae Adams when he came to play with him, I think we'd be in much better shape. So that's my opinion. I think all the teams have the number of our quarterback now, and it's not a good number.
Welcome to a brand new episode of Sound Off Sports. Mike Davis here alongside my main man, James Edward Barrickman IV. Thank you to Sandy for giving us that great review, that call off the top of the show. Of course, we're talking about the Raiders falling to 2-5, getting blown out 31-0 versus the Chiefs. Now they enter the bye week. I hate entering a bye week after a blowout. I feel like that defeat, it's
going to linger for a while.
You know, it marinates in your blood. It's not good.
Hopefully they use some of that fire and come out against whoever it is they got next and open up a can of you-know-what on them.
Well, it's the Jaguars. The Jaguars look good. We got a lot to break down about this awful, devastating defeat, frankly embarrassing loss. But let's go to a quick call, James. Let's hear what someone else has to say about this.
Hey, Mike, Ruben Gutierrez here. Hey, Uncle Pete, thanks for bringing the orange slices for the boys. That was pretty nice of you. I figured it out. Geno cannot recognize color. He's always throwing to his receivers with at least 2 or 3 guys from the other team. He doesn't know it's the wrong color jersey. Trust me, get him checked out. That's the only thing I could think of. Other than that, he's just lousy. All right, peace.
All right, well, thank you to Ruben Gutierrez, a loyal listener, watcher,
and caller,
follower, caller. We love it. Ruben, thanks so much. He always brings the snark.
Well, there you go.
Snark's at a 10 with Ruben.
He has it figured out. Geno Smith is colorblind.
Who
knew? And that's why he leads the league in picks.
Might need to get his eyes checked.
Wow.
I mean, listen, he does lead the league in interceptions with 10. He's tied with Tua. There's a lot to talk about this game. There's so much embarrassing stuff. Sticking with the Geno stuff, this season, on passing attempts over 10 yards, James, he's 23 of 60. That's 38%. He's got 3 TDs, 8 interceptions on those passes of 10 yards or more. It's a passer rating of 48.4.
On passes 10-plus yards down the field.
Yes. Last year, that same category, he was at a passer rating of 101. So this is not the Geno Smith we even thought we were getting. This is so much worse. You weren't hyped up about getting Geno Smith to begin with.
No.
But this is a lot less than what was advertised. I mean, this is a really
This is Ray Brewer's Geno Smith.
Right, from Sin City Beat, managing editor of the Las Vegas Sun. He wasn't happy about all this. But here's my concern, James. My concern is you bring in Pete Carroll with the Super Bowl pedigree. You bring in Geno Smith, who's a competitive top 15 QB. All these things we think that are going to be baked into the experience of making this team competitive, we don't have any of that now.
Right.
We're worse than we thought. I thought maybe they're going to have 6, 7, 8 wins. Maybe they'll be competitive in this AFC West division, and maybe they can make a charge for the playoffs. Now they're 2-5. They're slated for the 5th pick in the NFL draft.
I think that's why people are so upset with what they're seeing right now, because that was what we were told we were going to get with Pete Carroll. The floor was going to rise, right? The quality of play on the field was going to get significantly better, win or lose. That's not been the case after week 1 in New England. This looks like a Josh McDaniels-led football team. This looks like an Antonio Pierce-led football team. And what's really concerning is that Geno Smith is Pete Carroll's guy.
Yeah.
That's the guy he wanted to bring in. And you pair him, Geno, who was a solid middle of the road, maybe upper top 15.
Yeah.
Low end top 10. Bring a guy in and you pair him with a high price coordinator and Chip Kelly. And this is as bad as we've seen him since his days in New York.
It's a disaster. They're 2-5. They've lost to all the good teams, right? They've lost to the Chargers, the Commanders, the Bears, the Colts, the Chiefs. They've beat the Titans and the Patriots. The Patriots
They've lost by double digits 4 out of their 5 losses.
They're getting blown out.
They're getting blown out.
These are not close games. So let's go to another quick call because I got another thing I want to bring up next.
Hey, Sound Off. I think what we should do with the Raiders is let the aces play, and maybe we'll win a game or two. Just saying. Thank you.
All right, see, I love the humor. James, let's do another quick call.
Kenny Pickett, QB1.
Well, I don't think Pickett's the answer because he enters the game, he fumbles the snap right off the bat.
His hands are too small. They can't get him around the football. No, I'm just kidding.
They said that.
I'm a Pittsburgh guy, diehard Steelers fan. I've been through the Kenny Pickett thing. Trust me, he's not QB1, although I think he is a solid backup.
And that's what's perhaps so devastating about this is that the Raiders trade for Geno Smith, then they extend him for the 2-year, $75 million contract. Now, here's the good news. They can get out of it next year because in 2026, out of the $26.5 million he's guaranteed, they only have, or $26.5 million they got to pay him, only 18 is guaranteed. Gotcha. So they're slated to have the second highest cap room next year, so they could pay and just get out of the Geno Smith experiment. But here's where it even gets worse, according to last Sunday. 0-7 on third down. Genti ran the ball 1 time in the first quarter, 4 times total in the first half, 6 total in the game. Now, this is the second team since 1950 to run 30 or fewer offensive plays in a game. They only had 95 yards the entire game.
My favorite stat from this game, the Raiders ran 30 offensive plays. The Chiefs had 30 first downs.
That's absurd.
It's truly is, when you, in the annals of NFL history, one of the single worst performances of any team ever, especially in the modern era.
What does this mean? Of course this means that we thought the Raiders were going to be competitive. They're not going to be competitive. They're not going to be able to do anything in the AFC West. And this shows that a team like the Chiefs, who are, the cream of the crop, the creme de la creme of the NFL, they're nowhere close to them.
No.
They're not even in the same plan.
And they were supposed to take a major step.
Right. And we just
season.
thought Geno coming in, upgrading from Geno from an Aiden O'Connell, from a Gardner Minshew, upgrading from an Antonio Pierce to a Pete Carroll. We thought at least that means it's competitive. At least you're actually competing with the creme de la creme.
The Pete Carroll guarantee was that the level of play will rise. The floor will rise with this team. This isn't going to be guys, looking like they don't know what they're doing out there, blowout losses every other weekend. That's not what we've seen. And to your Geno Smith point,
yeah,
we know how tight Pete Carroll is with Geno Smith, and how much he stands by him through thick and thin. Will they stick with him for these next 2 seasons?
I don't see how they can. I mean, they're going to stick with him this
year.
year.
I think that'll say a lot about Pete Carroll and the organization, whether or not they have the rocks to say, okay, this isn't working, we messed up, and pivot.
Well, this is what I want to talk about. Let's go to one quick call, but before or after this call, I want to talk about that because I think the fan perspective on the quarterback situation, I'm puzzled that this wasn't the direction they went, now seeing hindsight 2020. But let's go to this call.
Do any worse than Geno Smith is doing. Give the Raiders a chance. Go Raiders.
And this, James, is what leads me to my overall point of what I've been thinking about since this defeat is imagine this team traded back in the first round and selected Jackson Dart, because this is a team with no hope. We thought the culture and all these things were going to change overnight with Pete.
Right.
I love Pete more than anybody. It hasn't changed. Ashton Genty says to reporters this week, we have a losing culture. He's been in the building for a few weeks, and he's like, we got a losing culture. So my problem is, this is where, if you did draft Shedeur Sanders in the 5th round or in the 4th round and you just threw a flyer, it's a good thing for the fan.
You have something to look forward to. Something
because
to get hopeful about.
Geno's not the answer.
No,
so
Geno's going to be 38 in 2 years.
But look what happens when you end up drafting a quarterback. The Giants weren't sold on Jackson Dart. They had Abdul Carter that they drafted 4th overall.
Right.
But what happens is, if you think, hey, this guy might have a chance, you see what a quarterback can do to change the culture. Look what Jackson Dart is doing in New York. It's the same thing that the Raiders are going through. They had Jameis Winston there. They have Russell Wilson there. These are veteran guys who are not winning you a Super Bowl, but they're just supposed to keep you competitive. It's going so awful that they're like, we're going to throw in 22nd overall pick Jackson Dart. We traded back in the first to get him.
Goes.
And now Brian Dable's going to save his job.
I think that's part of why they had to go get Jackson Dart in the first place, because that regime, they understand, hey, if we don't get this thing turned around in a hurry,
right,
we're out of a job.
And maybe
Pete Carroll's in a bit of a different situation.
Spot,
yes.
But it's still, now that franchise looks completely different because they've maybe found the quarterback.
The outlook is totally different.
They got Scadaboo. They got Neighbor. They finally have the construction of a team because they found their quarterback. The Raiders didn't even take a shot this year. That's the problem. It's like, now at least.
That was one of the knocks on Shedeur Sanders through that whole draft slide, was that, wow, Tom Brady's supposed to be his mentor, and they passed on him time and time and time again. What is wrong with Shedeur Sanders? But maybe they should have taken a swing on him.
They should have taken a swing somewhere, because at least the Browns, they don't know if it's Dylan Gabriel. They don't know if it's Shedeur, but they're taking a crack.
Right.
You got it. Now we just don't even, we got to wait till next year to see what the next quarterback
Geno Smith does nothing for you. And I swear, if we look back through the history of the show, there's got to be a clip of me somewhere saying, what does Geno Smith get you? Because he's not your long-term guy.
And this is what and James is always the biggest proponent of this. You always say, James, why are we playing for middle of the road?
Right.
You're either playing for a Super Bowl, or you're just trying to postpone and try to create a foundation, not tank, but not try to max out at middle of the road.
Right.
And the Raiders were trying to max out at middle of the road to stay competitive in the now.
And again,
now they're not competitive. So we lost everything.
That was a huge selling point to the fan base, because for the last 20 plus years, the Raiders have not been competitive, and competitive for this fan base would be amazing.
Exactly.
But now you're not even getting that.
And that's why I just think Raiders fans today would be much happier in the Giants situation, where you're not winning a Super Bowl, but you're competitive and you have the outlook and the future defined as you found your guy. I'm upset about it, but what can you do? Guys, coming up next, we got NBA Slam Dunk champion, a guy who's got hops, man. I hope he can even fit in this room. It's Fred Jones. He's up next.
Hey, buddy, I'm a Raider fan from 1987. 1987 when they were in Oakland. And I'll tell you what, this Al Davis's kid, he's a moron. He tries to hire the cheapest people he can get out there on the field, and all he cares about is the marketing and getting the stands full of Raider shirts and bling and all the rest of this crap. He needs to buy some football players that are going to work in unison, and he needs to buy some coaches.
All right, everybody, welcome here inside the Den, Fox 5 Sports, Sound Off Sports. I'm Mike Davis. I'm joined right now by a guy I remember freaking out watching during the Slam Dunk Contest NBA All-Star Weekend. This guy played for the Indiana Pacers, but he was a Slam Dunk champion. I'm saying Kareem, Magic, everybody, all these judges were going crazy as this guy was beating Birdman. You remember Chris Anderson. He was beating Ricky Davis, all these guys. And who did win that NBA dunk contest? It was none other than Fred Jones.
This guy.
Fred Jones right here. Don't jump out of the building when you're here with us today. Can you do that for us?
I can definitely sit here and relax, yeah.
Okay, good. Fred, so much to talk about. We're going to be getting into Shoot 360. You're an ambassador of this great situation where it's not just for training. There's leagues, ball is life. We're going to be learning all about that. But let's start with what's going on right now. You're an former Indiana Pacer. It's a good time to be a fan of the Indiana Pacers. Right. Take me back. When you were with the team, was it Rick Carlisle? Was he there in his first stint while you were there? Who was coaching you at the time?
So when I got drafted to Indiana, Isaiah Thomas was the head coach.
Wow.
Yep. So he was the one that drafted me, played 1 year for him, and then Rick Carlisle came in my second year as the coach and was there for my last 3 years.
And you're there with those teams, of course, Jermaine O'Neal, Ron Artest. Those are good times being a Pacer fan. But now, in his second stint, Rick Carlisle's done a lot of good stuff. Obviously, they just lost the NBA Finals. Halliburton, up-and-coming superstar, of course, unfortunately got the injury. But tell us, what is it about Rick Carlisle? He's been all over the league. He was a good player. But coming back to Indiana from Dallas, this guy just seems to know the city and seems to know what to do with the team.
Well, Rick is a top 3 coach in the league, and always been. He's special. Even, I played for a lot of coaches. I always said Rick was the best coach I ever played for.
Really?
He seems to just, understand his players, what they do well, what they don't do well, and create an offense, create a defense that fits them, and the talent that he has, and put them in good situations so he doesn't put you in a bad situation.
It is pretty striking, as a non-former NBA player, to watch how the system he rolls out as a coach. It's almost like watching an NFL game and you see Sean McVay and the way he calls an offense for the Rams. Like, there's something he does with his offense where it's constantly moving. There's a lot of energy. To see the full interview with Fred Jones, go to our YouTube page, Silver State Sports.
You're watching Sound Off Sports, sponsored by Silver State Schools Credit Union.
Shohei Ohtani is the best.
Well, Dodgers manager Dave Roberts said it was the greatest night in baseball history. Shohei Ohtani, 3 homers, 10 Ks, 6 shutout innings. James, we've never seen anything like it. ESPN reporter Jeff Passan said, in baseball history, 503 players have hit 3 homers in a game. In baseball history, 1,550 players have struck out 10 or more players in a game. In baseball history, nobody has done both of those things until that Friday night last week. That's just how historic this guy is. All I want to say on this, coming up in Sink or Swim, we're going to give our World Series pick. We have to appreciate this guy while we get to watch him. This is the stuff, James. I know you love Troy Polamalu. You love Big Ben and all this stuff. I love Brian Dawkins. I love Saquon Barkley. We love all these guys, right?
None of those guys are Shohei Ohtani, what he's doing.
We're good. This is the stuff, if we're lucky enough to meet our great-grandchildren, this is the stuff one day you'll say, I got to watch Shohei Ohtani play baseball.
What we heard growing up about Babe Ruth, about the things he did, we never actually thought we would get to see it live and in person until Shohei Ohtani came around.
Yeah.
We are witnessing stuff of legend, stuff that you put in movies, things that aren't real are happening in Los Angeles. Yeah. And it's all thanks to Shohei Ohtani. I can't think of a single game sports performance off the top of my head that was more
impressive,
dominant offensively and defensively. Who goes out on the mound, pitches 6 shutout innings, 2 hits allowed, 10 Ks, and then goes 3 for 3 with 3 jacks and a base on balls? That in a must-have Game 4 clinching NLCS game, dude. You can't. I can't think of anything off the top of my head.
It's ridiculous, and we're never going to see anything like this again. one more time, I just want to say, baseball history, Jeff Passan, only 5 out of 503 players all time have hit 3 homers in a single game. All time. And then 1,550 have struck out 10 guys in a game. This is all time in baseball, and he did this, both of them, on the same night. If he does anything remotely in this vicinity in a World Series game, I can't wait to see him pitch. I can't wait to see him. We know he's at least going to get one start in this series, so I just can't wait to see what he does. It's going to be appointment television.
100%. We got one more call here.
All right, let's check this call.
I just want to comment on the Ohtani thing. Yeah, no, anything that Michael Jordan did was way better than 3 home runs. I mean, give me a break.
I don't know if he maybe understands. It's not just the 3 homers.
Yeah, we're not.
But he also pitched.
Yeah, Michael
6
Jordan
shutout innings.
Is amazing. Flu game was crazy, but he was never this dominant offensively and defensively. Basketball is a different sport. You can't impact the game at both ways quite like you can in the way Shohei Ohtani's doing.
Yeah,
but
unless you're Aisha Wilson or something.
Sure.
But yeah, of course. All right, guys, as always, 702-855-3502. Give us a buzz. We love to hear your thoughts. Up next, we're giving our World Series predictions. James and I go head-to-head. All right, welcome back. Time for Sink or Swim. James, your World Series prediction, Blue Jays, Dodgers, who you got?
I'm going Blue Jays in 7. One of the biggest upsets in World Series history. I'm only saying that because, dude, I don't want to see the Dodgers win again. I'm so sick of it.
I'm going to say Dodgers in 6. I think Snell, Yamamoto, Glasnow, Ohtani, that pitching staff is insane, and I just want to see some Ohtani magic. As much as it pains me, I do love Ohtani so much. I do love Vlad Guerrero Jr. too, so shout out to him, but I think it's going to be Dodgers 6. That's my call. Guys, as always, give us a buzz. We love to hear your thoughts. 702-855-3502. Give us a call. As always, thanks to James, editor Jess. I'm Mike Davis. We'll see you next time for SOS.